Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are a thing. Can I please get an audio check in the chat, please? Okay, here we go. Doing well. I'm only about a minute left, a minute late. And oh, YouTube has just sent me an email to tell me I'm live. I had noticed. Emma G, even sexy it is, it's been about an hour and a half. I miss you already. Weedlander, what about you, son? Sir, glad to have you here. Packet, audio good. Excellent, thank you. Rory Herbert, audio is good. Steve Craig, still talking in native Australian. Audio proper, big, strong one. Love it. Anglo-Saxon, evening, brother. "42 has watched far too much Sunday with the lads, so subconsciously he thinks the status quo is to be late." Well, I did well. I was within a minute, and I would have been, but I had a bit of a boomer move with the tech, and hadn't added myself to the stream and all sorts of hideous stuff. But we're here now. Jess, lovely to see you. Thank you. Matthew C. Fort, good evening. Linda Hunter, hello from down under. How's everything going down there? Anglo said hello to Linda. Yeah, let's see new comments. Margie Pan in the house. Yes, you and all you Scotch boys, I hope you enjoy this because this is oh, Slim's all over it. See, another Jock, another Scottish boy, all over it. The Burryman is the central figure in the annual parade or ritual. The Burryman's parade that takes place in the town of South Queen's Furry. Yes, just outside Edinburgh. That's the very thing. That's what we're all over the night. And glad to have you here, Slim. Where'd that Reggie go? Ragnar Arnspear, Ulster brother. Hoyt, glad to have you here. The Lammas Fair in Ballycastle's going to come up as well. We're going to be all over that. Earl of Star, good evening and very warm welcome to yourself. Glad to have you here. Woodlander says hello to. It's a duck. Evening. Quackers, glad to have you here. Let's see. Yes, Yellow Man and Dulce, which to everybody else that's not from Northern Ireland, Dulce and Yellow Man are actually food. Well, purport to be food. What did I want to say before I actually get started into the content? Because I did have a couple of things that I wanted to say. Let's see. Yes, first thing. Very warm welcome to everybody. Come over from Bonnie Lad News / Amigos News. There's now back on Bonnie Lad's channel. Sanson was doing a very good job in looking after it for a while, and it's now migrated back to his own channel. If you're not here from there and you enjoy this stream, I would say that you'll probably like that stream as well, and there's an option for you for earlier on the Saturday night. Second thing, Sansom. Now that Sansom has finished his resident residency, looking after the news channel. He is going to be going back to doing a midweek stream. I hope I'm not speaking out of. Sansom, what about you? Glad to see you here. I was just talking about you. I hope I'm not telling any tales out of school, but I was just telling the people that you are going to be going back to doing a Sansom Sensibility midweek, and that'll be coming back online. I have it on. I have the inside track on it, and I believe I may actually get on there as a guest slot. I'm looking forward to that, Sansom, and just want to let everybody know that that's going to be coming back and be a thing. I'm ahead like a sieve, but I'm not saying which day or time or anything for a while until you actually confirm any of that. But just let everybody know it's coming back. There we go. It's no longer secret. Looking to start Sansom Sensibilities chats, hopefully on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. ahead of John Davison's stream. So that will be your Tuesdays viewing all sorted out. No, Amaji, I did not just invite myself. Sansom and me were on Telegram, and he'd already sort of invited me. So I thought it was just like popping out. Talking about invites, the other invite I have is. Hold on, I'm checking through these. I didn't know we were both invited. But yeah, there is that. Ragnar's doing a good job there, posting out links. Good. That's what I like to see. Yes. The other invite I've got, I'm going to be coming on with John Davison on his stream later on this month. Off the top of my head, I believe it's the 16th. I'll give that a good shout out closer to the time, but I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll have that. You never know. Any stream always gets improved by an emoji, having a bit of emoji on it. That's always good. So I think that is pretty much all of our Steve Cray setting his alarm. Sheepdog, welcome. Funny you mentioned that. Sheep will come up in the content with a Burryman. There's a little bit of sheep content in that. So hopefully that's up your. Hopefully that's up your street. What else was going to say? Yes. Ragnar Orange Beer, tomorrow evening is going to be on. He is in his usual time slot. I believe 7 o'clock. He's going to be talking to Illuminatus for us about his book, and that should all be very interesting. And then that'll bring you into the Scott's Armour stream. So, so that's pretty much you all up to date with the stream puddings. Linda, I'm in constantly smirk mode whenever I'm with MG. Although, what we had a very good day today. We went to the gymnasium and we used the equipment and not just the vending machine. And then we had a very healthy, low carb meal. It was all good. Everything all cooked from scratch. It was great. Loved it. Really good day. So there we go. Yep, Steve Craig's posting out Regs's link. So there you go. Had a click on that. The other thing, if you would all like to hit the like button and push those likes up. On the thing I've got here doesn't actually show me how many I've got, but I'll trust you all to go ahead and do that. And with that, we'll begin to get into the well, we'll forgive you for that because that's quite a traditional Northern England. Is a correct terminology Northern English, or it would be a traditional snackage up north, probably. Would be the way that would be said, I think. I don't know, Sansom, you can stick that in the chat what the proper vernacular is. I like tuning into the boys up north. We mightn't agree, but I think we all know the crack. Well, this is it. we don't have to agree on everything. In fact, I'd be quite worried if we all agreed on everything. That's not the sign of a healthy community if everybody agrees all the time. Up north, right? The people up north, that's a yes. How would we say it? Pork scratching is a traditional snack up north. We'll go with that. And with no further ado, because we've had a lot of furtherance of ado so far, we're going to start talking about the Burryman, the tradition where it comes from, and what it's all about. Whenever I was actually doing the research for this, it wasn't very easy to get something that it wasn't easy to get. Hold on, I need to address a couple of these comments. It's quite a refined thing because we have crunch, crackling, and scratchings. Fuck yeah, there's a lot of nuance going on there. Yes, it does. That would be very refined. Uh, Although you still don't have brown laminate, that seems to confuse people in the mainland. And Packet, you are 100% right. If we all agreed on everything, we would be left hards. Right. Nah. Yes. So we're going to get our first link up. Whenever I was doing the research for this, I found it was quite hard to get one story with even most of the information. So it's probably going to involve a bit of jumping about here. And there is also a Slim's giving it away. There's more to it than that, but Slim, there's quite a bit more to it than that. But that's the center of the Burryman bit. So we're going to do a bit of jumping about from one link to another. Yep, that'll do for we've got the right link for starting, which is always good. Like to try and have the right link. And going to get that fired up on the screen for you now. Share screen. Share screen. Home tab. Here we go. Right, there's a picture of the dude. That's what he looks like whenever he's doing his little tour through the town. Right, I'm up to date with the things, and we shall begin. For one day in August, the residents and visitors of South Queensferry in Edinburgh, Scotland, are treated to a rather unusual display. A man is dressed from head to toe in burrs, a prickly part of the plant that is similar to thistles, and paraded around the port town along the Firth of Forth estuary. The exact origins of the spectacle have been lost in the mists of time, but there is speculation that is deeply rooted in folklore traditions. It has been suggested that the Burryman is associated with pagan rituals involving the cycles of death and rebirth. Often linked to harvest celebrations, the Burryman's presence is said to ward off evil and promote good fortune to all those who pay him homage in their either in mummies or in alcohol. His appearance happens in conjunction with the town's Furry Fair Festival. As part of the celebration, a local man will be dressed up in his makeshift suit of spiky flowering buds and led around the town by two attendants in normal dress. The procession will go on for several hours, and all the while, this elaborate trio will stop at every pub to collect donations and partake in the drinking of whiskey through a straw. The Furry Fair Festival is a week-long celebration that involves a number of activities and fundraising events. The entire town participates, with storefronts decorated and businesses providing floats and motorcades. It usually takes place over the second week of August, culminating in the crowning of the Fair Queen and her court comprised of local children. Outside of the festival, a Burryman costume, his name is Frank, as well as other artifacts pertaining to the history of the village, can be seen at the Queensferry Museum. And that is pretty much everything we have in this link. So, one thing I would like to draw your attention to is, whereas it has been suggested that Burryman is associated with pagan rituals involving cycles of death and rebirth, often linked to harvest celebrations. That's exactly what it is. Why these people are trying to sort of let it be said, but say that it might not be so. I don't know what exactly the agenda with that is. Also, where it talks about the Fair Festival with a number of fundraising events, floats and storefronts and motorcades. That's the modern version of this festival. The traditional version of that festival would not have been anything like that. There was, apart from being a bloody good, enjoyable week, there was more to it than it actually served a purpose. Right now, I just want to check through the comments. Ragnar, our traditions aren't lost; they aren't gone. They're simply misplaced, and they can and will be brought back. And I'm going to be talking more about it as I go through this stream. Whenever I started to research this, I found out quite a bit that uh yeah, the this uh this fair and week long extravaganza and the Burryman and Quasbury were not the only ones. Uh, Don Browning, we have a royalty in here. The Field Marshal has arrived, all the way from down under. Lovely to see you. Thank you for dropping in. Slim, Slim's trying to do the whole show in the comments. It's great. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be. Don't worry. There's more of this to come out. You'll be fine. I think where I'm going to go to next is the quarter days. But flanked by two minders and a third person out in front ringing a bell, leading the hip hip hooray cries. Out comes the Burryman. We're going to be on that. Slim, have you actually attended this festival? Just out of curiosity. Yes, and I would also say to Ian Moore, if you're still in, uh, Scots Armour Resisting the Lies, if any of you Scottish people, excellent. And really, that does my heart proud that there's people out there still getting involved with this. And I'm going to take a wild guess that's not your hometown, so you actually travelled to see it. That's excellent. Yep, we're getting into harvest and everything very, very shortly. Jacob Belford, good evening, sir. Glad to have you on board. Right, now, the next link. I wanted to do was the quarter days. Right, get this link up. Page not found. But hold on. Give me 1 second here. Right. The technical issues will be resolved. Here we go. Oh, too much your offer. Right. Back to StreamYard. Yeah, that is unfortunate. We seem to have everything. Everything's gone corporate and the same. Real Vincent, put my teeth back in. Real Vincent Griffin. Glad to see you here, bud. Steve, yes, we have got full boomer tech. Full boomer tech. But we shall overcome. Next link, which is going to be about quarter days. Here we go. What are the quarter days and what do they mean? Right, just here we go. We're back. August the 1st is Lammas Day. It stems from the ancient Celtic calendar that was based on the seasons, with the quarter days near the solstices and equinoxes, and the cross quarter days as the seasonal midpoints. Learn more about the Celtic calendar and find out why we all celebrate Groundhog Day, Christmas Day, Halloween. That's not what we're after. The timing of present day rituals, traditions, and holidays was influenced by the ancient Celts. Uh, the calendar was divided into four major seasons marked by quarter days. Then each season was divided in half, creating a cross quarter days. For the ancient Celts, cross quarter days signaled the beginning of a season. For example, what is now Groundhog Day, Candlemas, would be considered the start of spring. Some historians are divided. Now, what I am wanting here. Right. August the 1st, Lammas Day. Lammas, a corruption of the Old English word Lammas, was the midpoint between summer solstice and autumn equinox. Traditionally a festival associated with harvesting grain, it marked the beginning of the wheat harvest and especially celebrated the first wheat or corn crop. Grains harvested at Lammas time also include barley, oats, and sunflower. Tenant farmers would have presented the first crop of harvest to their landlord. I'm not exactly sure how true that is. This is not the link I thought it was. So Boomer has got. The Snana was a wedding of the sun god Lai to the earth goddess, causing the ripening of crops. The church transformed it into a feast of the fruits. Villages would take the first loaves of bread to the loaf mass, which became corrupted in pronunciation to Lammas. The word Lammas comes from Old English half loaf or feast. After each loaf was baked, the farmers broke it into four pieces, placed each piece in the corner of their barn, protecting the harvested grain. Lammas bread was often made in shapes including wheat, owls, and corn dolls. When it was upon a Lammas night, when corn rigs are barley, beneath the moon's unclouded light, I held awe to Annie. The time flew by with tenderness heed, till tween the late and early. With summer presumption she agreed to see me through the barley. Robert Burns. Uh, the day is celebrated in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and other countries in the Northern Hemisphere by baking Lammas bread, making corn dollies, bundling twigs together, and enjoying large feasts with friends and family. Now, while that did give us a bit of information, it's not exactly the stuff that I really wanted. Yes, mate, it did. And you got to be a Scotchman to actually read Burns. I'm sorry, Sean, but we'll give it a burn. Quarter days are also days that commercial rents are due in England. That day is March 25th, Lily Day, June 24th, Midsummer Day, September 29th, Markham Day, December 25th, Christmas Day. Yes, what I was looking for was the Scottish version of that, because there, it's also the day that uh, farmhands could be sacked or hired, which comes in the way we'll have the festivals spread about the places. these days. So I'm going to try and actually find that link. Right. Where the hell was it? No. Scottish Lammas Day. Mate, whenever they were doing this, there was no such thing as migrant workers. These would have been Scots moving from one town to another. Way before we had anybody coming from anywhere to do anything. Uh, the problem with all these. Right. This is a slightly better one. Like I say, I was trying to find a link that had everything in like the one story, but that don't exist. Share screen. What the hell's going on here? Right. And that right. Here we go. Take two. And that's where peppercorn rent comes from. Uh, I'm sure Lord Whitney used to charge one whole peppercorn for the use of his lands on St. Malcolm's Day. It was ceremonial, obviously, and I don't know if they still do it. I hope so. There's a thing called peppercorn rent, 1 pence per year if collected, uh, which a lot of charities I feel of, they'll end up getting a building to use as a charity, and the commercial rent will be put to a peppercorn rate. Uh, yeah, 1 pence per year I've collected peppercorn rent. Sorry, I'm just catching up with these comments. Uh, no, here we are. Right, I can hide that current, that share screen, Chrome tab, share. What the hell's going on? As soon as I share this, it freezes up and goes to fucking right. Here we go. Lammas Day, 1st of August, celebrated the first harvest of the year as the new loaves were brought into the church and blessed. The Festival of Lammas was celebrated across Europe, marked the beginning of a new season harvest. The feast celebrated in Scotland from at least medieval times and was known as the Gule of August. In the weeks before harvest, communities were at their highest risks of starving, as stocks from the previous harvest came close to being depleted. Lammas Day heralded the new harvest and hopefully a return to times of plenty. In the Everyday book, published 1838, author William Hone described celebrations held by Edinburgh farmers, which included the building of towers with communities competing to knock down each other's towers. This was a boisterous and often dangerous contest at which participants were occasionally killed and often injured. Lammas is also recognised as one of the four Scottish quarter days, a legal term for the period of time at which contracts could be terminated or renewed and servants could be hired or dismissed. The four dates were traditionally Candlemas, 20th of February, Whit Sunday, 20th of May, Lammas, 20th of August, Martinus, 20th of November. Author Margaret Bennett describes the most ancient Lammas ritual in Scotland as the Burryman ritual held in South Queensbury. In this, the Burryman walks and marches the town, crowned with roses and staff in each hand, and a Scottish flag around his middle. He is accompanied by two officials led by a bell ringer and chanting children who collect money for luck. The Lammas fairs. At the end of the 20th century, just two Lammas fairs remained: St Andrews and Inverthinking. St Andrews and Inverthinking. Both are still held at present day and include market stalls, food, drinks. In bygone days, a Lammas fair would have been a very different affair, with hiring and firing of servants, the collecting of rental payments, and the sale of livestock. One of the biggest Lammas fairs at was at Kilwell in Orkney, famed for the Titletown marriages which took place at the fair. Here, a couple could enter into a temporary union at Lammas and could live together for a year and a day before entering into permanent union or separating. This was known as handfasting. A shorter commitment was entered into with the practice of Lammas brothers and sisters who were joined together in sexual partnership for the 11-day duration of the Lammas fair. So what you have here going on at these fairs was you'll have people going from one town to another looking to get their employment for the next season. And you'll also have people that are hooking up for the duration of their stay in that town before they move off to wherever it is they're going to be working for the next season, or staying together for a year and a day with an eye to potentially staying together permanently. So these fairs were they had a social function where you went and got a wife. It's where you got some employment. There was a lot of things, and I take a bit of exception to them saying not the animals, Billy. Lammas is a it's about bread, not those funny looking animals that uh, are often used for distress or easing distress. And with that, I'm gonna put up a video, give my voice a break. Uh, 1 second of the old Lammas fair in Ballycastle, Northern Ireland. Video footage from the fair in 1963, I believe. Right. As soon as I get past this, right, here we go. Right. Whenever I throw this up, people, could you give me a audio check in the chat? And I'll talk over it a little bit of times. Share screen. Chrome tab. This is from the old Lammas Fair, Ballycastle in 1964. We'll get down to theatre mode.
My young love said to me.
Sorry for interrupting that, but I just have to. See that stuff they're eating now? That's called yellow man. It's harder than rock. It's sort of food, but it's one of the traditional foods that you would get at that old Lammas Fair in Ballycastle. Dulse, the other one being dulse, which is seaweed, basically. Right.
My mother won't mind, and my father won't spite you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair. And fondly I watched her go here and go there. And she went her way homeward with one star away, as the swan in the evening moved over the lake. The people were saying that no two were wed, but one has a sorrow that never was said. And I smiled as she passed me with her goods and her gear, and that was the last word I saw of my dear. I dreamt it last night, that my young love came in. So softly she entered, her feet made no din. She came close beside me, and then she did say, "It will not be long, love, till our wedding day."
Check out the dulce on that. See, see this here stuff. That's dulce. That's a seaweed that they're selling. Oh fuck, that stuff is honking. Right. Yeah, mate, that is beautiful. That was footage from the Lammas Fair in Ballycastle from 1964, which is Billy Blogs was asking, was that in Scotland or try and find the comment. There's a couple of things that I wanted to. Yep, Billy Blogs was asking, is that Scotland or Ulster? That's in Ulster. Yeah, Ballycastle, and Real Vincent Griffin. Yeah, they swiped that tune for the Belfast Child song. Resisting the Lies used to paint pictures of Bragantons. Stick in the chat what Bragantons is. That's totally new to me. Honking means smelly or tastes bad. If somebody tells you your food's honking, it's not just smelly, it's what's that word? Revolting. Uh yeah. Don't worry, people, all those traditions can be brought back. And see that dancing that the kids were doing? Yep, minging. Minging. Uh Minging's the same thing. Uh where was I? Bass of that song. I'm not sure, but I will actually look that up for you. Uh, I would need to do a little bit of checking on that. Slim Sandy can talk like a madman, but that is no surprise to anybody that watched the stream last week. We know all about that. Once a robber or a small ship. Right. So these fairs happened right across the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales, and at that time Ireland, because it was all one country then. That's something I'm trying to get into the proper way of doing, being historically correct for my terms of Ireland and Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland. Uh, so you'd have you'd have got work there, you'd have got a wife there, you'd have got a husband there, and you would have interacted with the rest of your wider community. Now, where was I wanting to go next with all this madness? Uh, uh, yes, we'll have an article about the guy that actually was the Burryman in Quasbury. So we're going to have a look at that because that was actually quite interesting. Going to accept those. And I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. And I'm going to zoom it in again. Back to StreamYard and share it. Evening, Jack. Good to see you. Sure. Right. Yep. There's the man himself, and there's his Scottish flag around his waist. Here we go. The Staghead Hotel, Quasbury, near Edinburgh at 7 a.m. Newspapers are spread over the tables and floors, and on the rest, greeny brown squares, each the size of a face funnel, made up of clingy rows of burrs, those pestilentially sticky seed heads which cling so only too close. Just how effectively they cling, these patches indicate. There must be hundreds in each, and they can be lifted without disintegrating. Nature's Velcro. They are being lifted and slapped onto a young man who stands patiently and uncomplaining. What on earth is going on? They are in fact dressing up the Burryman, which is part of the Quasbury annual summer festival, an event that goes back in time. Alan Reid, who was the previous Burryman for 26 years, explained that it was a more widespread ceremony centuries ago. But like so much of rural tradition, it has largely died out. But we are determined Quasbury will keep the colourful tradition going. Last year's incumbent was John Nichol, a 36-year-old graphic designer. The Furry Fair was given its charter by Charles II in 1687, but today is simply a gala day with the crowning of the Furry Queen, a burr race, the prize's symbolic pair of boots carried aloft on a halberd, the shows, funfair, and other social jollity. The Burryman walkabout takes place on the eve of the fair, and the charter date of July 25th may have been changed to the second week in August to ensure that there was time for the birds to be truly ripe and ready for collecting. Another suggestion is the Burryman as a scapegoat figure. The meaning of the ceremony has been lost, but it could have been to do with seeking good fortune for the town's harvest. The harvest could have been from the sea for Bucky and for Fearsborough once created similar good luck figures, and Bucky when the fishing field. A, a copper was dressed in burrs and wheeled in a barrow through the town. In Fraserburgh, the Burryman mounted a horse and rode through the town in a crowd of the population, a paper leading. In 1864, the ritual seems to have ceased. Another suggestion that the Burryman is a scapegoat figure. The burrs represent the guilt of the village being collected and driven out, though there is no record of such treatment, even in mine. Today's Burryman makes a welcoming social round of the town, and John is the first to admit that a certain euphoria remains long after the miles walked and the 17 drams have been consumed. John admitted that as soon as he starts being dressed, he feels he is somehow set apart, facing a lonely, isolated town, despite being the centre of attraction, tinged with almost a mystical element, so outside rational thought. The body and mind parted, so he seems a spectator as much as a participant. Yet at the same time, the event is a physical challenge and one with considerable discomfort, even to having vision framed by the bush you're peering out from. The last part of the day is the strangest, he said. When the hood is ripped off, it is like being born, in an instant becoming John Nichol again, as the Burryman disintegrates and all those aches and pains take over. So that was just to give you an account of what it's like to actually be the person that does that. Uh, Meaning lost often means that they want to talk about it. Just want to have a quick check through the comments. Make sure I'm not missing anything that should be addressing. Jeffrey's only like, good evening, sir. Glad to have you aboard. Right. I don't think there actually is a Pakistani tartan. I think that the actual proper tartans are traditional and go back a very long time, and there wasn't any Pakistanis in Scotland to be creating their own tartan. Would one of your politicians have a Pakistani tartan by any chance? Like, to be fair, I'm not overly well informed, and right, okay, we'll get that. Tartan is an English invention. Planet X, a lot of these resistant lives have got that. I'm going to check that in one momento. Yes, Planet X. There's a lot of these festivals and bits and pieces of them that are quite familiar. Bonfires are quite universal throughout them. And the Burryman himself looks very similar to Jack the Green that we talked about on May Day. You know, it's not surprising they are. That There's a lot of them. Now I'm going to have a look at this wee DM I got from, where are we? Oh, he's still typing. Oh, it's the wrong button. What the heck? Right, DJ or Billy, one of you two, because you'll both do it probably. Remind me later on to go back to that, because I don't want to jump into that conversation just right now. I would rather. Vegemite and homemade jam sounds good. Book me in for one. Planet X, see come January. Do you want to come on and talk about that festival? Because I'd be up for that. Definitely. Nah. What else was I wanting to talk about on this? Bum, 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 bum. Done that. And we've talked about what it's like to actually be the Burryman. Scottish Lammas Days was done. I think we've pretty much. I think we've pretty much covered Burryman. It's only took us like an hour. We're going to have a quick strange sport interlude and have a look at some indoor drone racing. And then we're going to have a look at the other thing that happens at this. Yes, subscribe to Planet X Hunter. Good job, Rags. Get that up. Yes, we're going to have a quick look at some indoor drone racing. And then we're going to have a look at the other sort of interesting thing from the beginning of August. Why, thank you, Mr. Cray. What started me off on this was every year I hear all about the Notting Hill Carnival, and I'd never heard of the Burryman before, Tuesday? Whenever I started to look into what festivals there were, people traveling. Yeah, it's one of the ones that I would actually like to get over for at some stage before I pop my clogs. It does look very good. Drone racing is too fast. It is. Yep. So yeah, they're very hard to worry about survival, planting, harvesting, and making little people is what it all sort of came down to. I would say it was a direct result of a load of fucking people that don't belong here coming over. Right. Nah. Yes. What was I doing? Yes, we're going to get a look at some drone racing. Right, 1 second just to get this timing stamp. And then we're going to do DJ's link after this. Timestamp of 2:30. Right. Share screen. Share screen.
Go.
So Tom took the lead straight away, and I was just constantly on his tail. He had some places where he was faster, and I had some where I was faster, so, and it was just a battle.
Lads in the top two, which means you are through to the final.
Yeah. It wasn't quite it wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. We're going to dump, well, that's what drone racing looks like. Or drone racing. Nah. There was something I wanted to address. There are some maypole dancing still to be found. We did about that on May Day, but it is few and far between. Oh. Yes, they do. Like everything else, they run on fucking coal because that's where our electric comes from. Slim, are you talking about the drones or something else? Right. Now, what was I going to do? Yes, I can stop that screen. We're dumping that. We're going to have a right. Hold on. Getting links out of Telegram can be a bit of a horlicks, but here we go. Take that one out. Plus it up. View. Zoom in. StreamYard, sure. Share screen, sure. Right, just want to check. It was taught maypole dancing in the 70s in Ulverston, but they don't now. There are some places that still do it. It's hard to know. Billy Blogs is not like impressed. Here we go. Sales of Scotland's Islamic tartan surge amid questions of religious national identity. What the fuck? Renewed interest comes at a time of increasing questions of identity. A Muslim academic created the design for fabric traditionally associated with Scottish clans and institutions. London sales of a specially designed Scottish Islamic tartan are soaring thanks to a surge of interest linked to timely questions of religious and national identity. The tartan was introduced 7 years ago to stand alongside the traditional woolen fabrics that proudly represent Scottish clans and institutions. It was designed in 2012 by Scottish Muslim academic and Arab news columnist Dr. Absine Abraham to celebrate the histories of Scotland and Islam and highlight and promote the dual heritage of the two communities in an attempt to overcome religious intolerance and cultural discrimination. Because I would say that the Muslim tradition in Scotland probably goes back a good 15 years. I mean, you've all those years, all 15 of them, of Muslims in Scotland. They must have created fucking everything. The mill that weaves the Islamic tartan fabric is said that sales have been steady since it was launched, but suddenly increased in the past week after an image and details of the tartan went viral on social media. The sale of most tartan is a steady trickle. Generally, we normally expect a few orders a week, said Nick Fiddler's managing director of DC Dalgleish and Clan.com, which describes itself as the world's only handcrafted tartan mill. The volume went up by 4 to 6 times. Perhaps it was very noticeable, and we had no idea why at first. It was quite mysterious. The sudden interest came after Canadian academic Laura Morlock, who specializes in religious attire. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuckly fuck? Tartan is not religious. A tartan is not a religious attire. It is a national dress. That is not, apart from the fact that the prevailing religion in Scotland has changed, I don't know, 2-3 times during the time that tartan was about. Bullshit. The sudden interest came after Canadian academic Laura Morlock, who specialises in religious attire, posted a tweet on September the 5th about the tartan. Scotland has officially created a tartan to honour its Muslim citizens. She wrote, despite coming 7 years after the launch of the fabric, the post was retweeted 1,300 times and liked by more than 50,000. What sort of relationship does this bitch have with the truth? Because whenever I looked up how it came, there was nothing official. Government didn't commission it. Some fucking... Who the fuck? What? Right. The tartan was introduced 7 years ago to stand alongside tradition. It was designed in 2012 by Scottish Muslim academic and Arab no government involvement whatsoever. So it has not officially created a tartan to honour its Muslim citizens. Some Muslims fucking created a tartan. Whoop de fucking do. Murlock said the response to her post suggested that drawing attention to the tartan must have resonated at a time when Muslim communities in the West, particularly in the US, are feeling more. Oh, yes. Is this where it's being sold to? Are the fucking Yanks buying this shit? I think people respond differently to learning about this because it hits a nerve at a time when hate crimes, particularly those against religious communities, are on the rise. How many churches have been burnt down in America? How many churches have been burnt down in Canada? Would those be the religious hate crimes you're talking about? How many orange halls have been put on fire? Is that the no, not them. No, you want fuck all to do with that. Are on the rise, and the news is full of federally mandated nationalistic cruelty around the globe, she wrote in her blog. Scotland has officially created a tartan to honour its Muslim citizens. Blue, the Scottish flag. Green, Islam. Hold on. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of green original tartan. 5 white lines, 5 pillars of Islam, 6 gold lines, the 6 articles of faith, the black square, the Kaaba, Scottish citizens, Glasgow City Chambers. Oh fuck. You think it's official because somebody wore it in a building? Are you fucking nuts? Phil said that the tartan is part of a Scottish Islamic venture that aims to bring the two communities closer together. No, it's not. That's not going to bring them closer together. What part of cultural appropriation is going to fucking help things? This is one thing I love about the tartan, she said. It is saying that Muslims are part of Scotland too. It wasn't the fucking Scottish that invented it, you fucking... And breathe. And now I'm going to go and have a look in the comments. I honestly don't know, Roy. Roy Herbert is asking, is there not an organisation in Scotland that controls the issues of tartans, rather like the College of Arms in England, regarding the issues of coats of arms? I honestly don't know. We've got a couple of Scottish guys in here that may have a better answer to that, but this is all fucking wrong. Right, hold on. Right, DJ. Yes, I'll bring you on definitely. No. What I am. Billy, I honestly got a question for you, chum. At Resisting Lies, you will be fighting Islamists and forget about the hate the SNP has installed in you towards the English. Right, okay. See, here's the thing. I've never heard Resisting the Lies say anything about not liking English, but it could be that you're addressing that to him, but it's a general question about the Scottish nationalist movement. I don't know if that's what the case is, but that seems a bit strange to me. I've never heard DJ say he don't like the English. Probably is full of crap. I apologize for making that comment. I was generalizing too much. Right. Okay, we've got the bomb that one. Nah, what was I going to do? I was going to talk about something else. Actually, this one shouldn't take too long. St. Oswald. Right, hold on. Get this wee linky up. Accept all those. One second. Share screen. Share screen. Chrome tab. There we go. 5th of August, Feast Day of Oswald, Northern England. St. Oswald was a Northumberland warrior king and champion of Christianity. He was killed at Mansfield near Hexham in 642 in a battle with Penda, the heathen king of America. Panda ordered that Oswald's body be dismembered and the head and hands nailed up on separate crosses as a sacrifice to Odin and a warning to other Christians. Oswald's head can now be found at St. Cuthbert's tomb in Durham Cathedral. Legend says that the hand did not wither even after death, reminding us of God's eternal reward for Christian charity. The uncorrupted arm was stolen by the monks of Peterborough Abbey and remained as one of the monastery's most prized possessions until lost or destroyed at the Reformation. So that's a little bit about the north of England. There's something we can all agree on. Great people should be remembered, and we should not let them diminish our heroes or ridicule anyone else. No idea whatsoever if Moseley was named after St. Oswald. Just let me have a wee think about this. Whether or not we'll do some more Oswald or not. Going to see what this. How long we're going? An hour and a half. Yep, we're going to do this. So we'll give you a little more detail on St. Oswald. Share screen. Chrome tab. So here's a biography of St. Oswald. Just 1 second, I just get a little liquid. St. Oswald, also known as King Oswald of Northumbria, lived in 604 until 5th of August 642 and was King of Northumbria from 634 until his death. He was credited with restoring Christianity to Northumbria by instigating and supporting the missionary effects of Aidan of Lynn's farm. The wider picture in Scotland at the time is set out in the historical timeline. Oswald was the son of Urfiner, King of Bernicia, effectively modern Northumberland and southeast Scotland. Urfiner also came to rule Duria, effectively modern Yorkshire, as part of an arrangement under which he married Oswald's mother. Acca, a member of the Durlan royal family. Oswald was born shortly afterwards in 604. Ephranorth was killed in 1616 by King Reinald of East Anglia during a battle that took place at the River Idle in the modern Northamptonshire. Acca's brother and Oswald's uncle, Edwin of Deira, subsequently became King of Northumbria, and the 12-year-old Oswald and his siblings, including his sister Abby, who would later become Saint Abby. So being a saint seems to run this family, fled for safety to the Scottish kingdom of Durlair. Oswald would spend the next 18 years in what is now Scotland and Ireland, where he converted to Christianity. Edwin of Deira was killed in a battle in 632 by Cadwallon ap Caftan, the king of Gwynedd. Oswald's brother, Ephranorth, subsequently became king of Bernicia before he too was killed by Culloden in 634. Oswald then rode south, probably with Scots and Pictish support, and defeated Cadwallon in the Battle of Havenfield near Hexham. It is said that before the battle, Oswald had a wooden cross erected, which he asked his army to pray to Despite leading a smaller army, Oswald defeated Catherine ap Cafton, who was killed. Following his victory, Oswald was crowned King of Northumbria and governed a kingdom that extended down the whole of the east side of the country, from the Firth of Forth to the north of Humber to the Humber Estuary, and possibly beyond. In the south, Oswald then invited monks from the missionary on Iona to help him convert his subjects to Christianity. The mission was initially under the control of the bishop named Carmen, but his approach was seen as unsympathetic, and he only succeeded in alienating those he was trying to convert. Carmen returned in failure to Iona in 635 and was replaced by the man who became known as Aidan of Lindisfarne. Aidan chose the island of Lindisfarne as his base and founded a monastery there. He set out with his supporters to walk the length and breadth of Northumbria. Over the years that followed, he converted the Northumbrians through personal piety and the power of his example. Oswald strongly supported Aidan's work, and as it is said, albeit by those trying to make a case for his sainthood, that he played an important role himself in setting a Christian example. King Oswald of Northumbria was killed by Mercians in the Battle of Massfield near modern Otswell in 642. The spot where he was killed soon became associated with miracles, and he quickly came to be regarded as a saint. St. Oswald's relics moved around a fair bit over the following centuries, often being associated with miracles. It is said that his head eventually found its resting place in Durham Cathedral. They can't even fucking be sure where this man's head is. I wonder, did you ever use a different head and just claim it to be him? While an arm made it as far as Peterborough Abbey, a number of churches in England and Scotland are named after St. Oswald, as are villages of Kirkswold in Ayrshire, Kirkoswald in Cumbria, and Oswaldtwistle in Lancashire. So that's the basics of that's the basics of St. Oswald. He walks about with it under his arm. It's a ghost. Did he do any Hamlet commercials? That's the big thing. Nah. Right, I'm just checking through the lies. Or my head's away with here. Checking through the comments. St. Oswald of Mosley. Right. Yep. Yeah, well, we'll do that. Right. So there we go. There's a bit about St. Oswald, who died about in the first week of August, so we'll have that. Nah. Such honesty is unheard of in a live stream. See anybody that is committing their thoughts and words to the internet, should that be on live streams and edited videos or writing a blog or anything like that, being dishonest about what you think is a really bad idea, because it's bound to come back and bite you in the arse sooner or later. Because I can't remember exactly what I said one week to the next. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm going to mute that. I started talking and forgot to fucking unmute. Yes, Henry threw on the same shade. He received 42. All in yes, no harm. I know you two are just bickering, and that's fine. I don't think anybody here is going to take offense or a hedge. Hashtag evening chum. You need a better memory than I have. Slim visited a monastery that escaped the Reformation because they took a vow of silence. Can't remember its name. They probably never told you. St. Thomas Aquinas. I've met St. Oswald up in heaven. Quite a decent chap, actually. Well, I'm glad to have a saint on the stream. That definitely will help us out. Slim, I was joking. The the whole silence. That's why they didn't tell you. Right. We're what? We're at 1 hour 40 minutes. I've pretty much covered my topics. DJ, do you want to come on for like 10-15 minutes? Have a quick convo, because you mentioned earlier. Oh, right. That's all good. We were both being funny. Yep. That's all they want to tell us about. They just want to talk us about. Yep. Right, DJ, I'm getting you a link now. Interesting history from this period. We do not hear much about. All they talk about is the Romans. They're very, very they're very choosy about what the tale is about. Right. Right, DJ. Come on in. If you go over the top on Billy, I'll kick you. Well, as we like to say, well, DJs getting themselves sorted out and coming in. We've had between 15 and 20 people in here for an hour and 40 minutes. It's currently coming up to 1:15 on Saturday and Sunday morning. That's fucking amazing, people. Honestly, really big thank you for everybody that comes along and watches this stuff, listens, takes part in the chat. It really means a lot, and I hope that you are getting some sort of interesting content out of it. Sense of Commune is saying that he can remember the most obscure stuff that is of no relevance to my life or work. After that, remembering my kid's birthday is about as far as it gets as my real stretch this day. Yes, I remember some really fucking obscure shit that is no use to anybody. Oh, Steve Craig, thank you very much, brother. Yeah. Oh, there's DJ.
Hello. How's it going?
Evening, sir. How's yourself?
I am. Well, I'm alright. Like, a bit hungover today, to be honest. I'm alright. Like, yourself?
Not too. I'm going great. Had a really good day today with Emma G. We went to the gymnasium, and then we come back and we had a nice dinner. And now I've done the stream. So yeah, I've had a good day.
Yes. Going to the gym and everything. We have bird. Like, you got to keep it there. Like, yeah. I wish I could say I had an eventful day like that. I woke up about maybe, I don't know, 11:30 in the morning, like alcohol poisoning or something. Like, so I'm feeling a bit sorry for myself right now, admittedly. But onwards and upwards, but onwards and upwards, like, you know. I made my first video today as well. So while you were at the gym and having a nice wee meal and that, I'm proud of myself for making my first video in about a month. Like, not a stream, an actual fucking video. So yeah. Sorry, go on.
Actually, that is good because I've been meaning to not even a video. I've been meaning to make an intro video for my stream for about 3 weeks now, and it's going to be all of about, I don't know, 40 seconds, and I know pretty much what I want to put into it, but I just haven't managed to get around it. So if you're making an actual video, it's going to be content. You've managed something there.
Oh, well, I thought you were leading up to a question here where you were going to ask me to make it for you, and I was going to have to go. I have no idea how to do it. To be fair, I've got the most idiot-proof recording software possible. I mean, I was using a free version for the longest time. It's as simplistic as it gets, and that's kind of the way I like it. You know, it gets too complicated. That's just nah. I do actually enjoy making like stuff like that. What you're on about, where you just put clips together with a bit of music in the background. It is quite therapeutic, but the way that I do it's too complicated. Like, you'd have to get like Clive or something to do it for you. Well, unless you can.
I record my audio on GarageBand and then put pictures and audios over the top of it. And it's not overly complicated, but it is time consuming.
Aye, I can guarantee the way I do it's probably worse. Like, all I've got is a pause and a stop button. So, like, I have to go through every single clip. If it's like news segments, and then pause, resume. Then I have to stop that video. Then I'm still getting DMs from that babe, by the way. Like, I know it's like some weirdo that's like trying to sell me Bitcoin or something, but it's funny. They've all got the same script. But anyway, So I'll have to upload this video that's like it'll be like clips of like several different segments from Parliament. Upload it on unlisted. Then I have to re-record that video with music playing in the background just so I can put the two together. It's so time consuming. Like, whereas other people can just edit, clip, etc., and fire on a bit of music at the same time, and it's done within 20 minutes. It takes me about 3 hours. 3 hours, like, I should really have a PayPal site. Like, the amount of effort I have to go through for a shit video is unbelievable.
Yeah,
but I was obviously I'm not going to like slag off Billy when we're joking about, but he is probably like the only person I will say this much that says this in my comment section, apart from people that come onto my comments to spurg about the SNP because they're obviously SNP fanboys. I am not anti-English. I've got English family. Admittedly, they descend from Scotland, but I mean, I've not done a fucking like a background check. I mean, for all I know, umpteen generations ago, the family in question descend from the land of the Viking, etc. But my point being, though, that I do have English family to some degree. I'm not anti-English. I will admit I'm anti-unionist, but that's nothing against anybody within the union. I know you're a unionist. I know Ragnar's a unionist. I've always been of the belief that England should be just as sovereign as Scotland should be in an ideal world, but we don't live in an ideal world. And this is the point that I continue to stress. I get accusations thrown at me all the time about being a Tory, about being a unionist, etc. I'm not. I really ain't, but I can't stand what's happening to Scotland because of the constant divisions surrounding revisionist selective history when it comes to quote-unquote independence. It's not independence. And even if it was independence, I still wouldn't want it right now because the entirety of Europe, the entirety of the Anglosphere, the entirety of the UK, we're all facing the same issues. And I'm not entirely sure that, hypothetically speaking, independent Scotland, even if it was legitimate independence, would be able to survive on its own when all this shit's going on around us. Like, there's a time and a place for these conversations. And right now is surely not the time for that,
I think this is me looking at between you and Billy from the outside. I think that Billy directs comments to you about the general people in Scotland, the SNP type people, and it comes across like he's
No, he's not. He's done this to me in so many streams.
Right,
He's done it
yeah,
to Scott Farmer as well. He called me a Scottish separatist and all this stuff like that. It's not. Don't get it wrong. I'm not coming on here to whine about
Yep.
Billy. I just wanted to actually state my actual belief.
Oh,
Like, I am a Scottish nationalist, legitimate Scottish nationalist. In terms of, I can't stand the monarchy. I can't stand the union. Can't stand any of that shit. I want Scotland to be independent, but not right now. Like, that is my belief. But I ain't going to change. And I know that, like, there's a lot of people watching right now. They might not be the same way inclined. I know you're not, certainly. But this is the sort of thing that I'd like to see happen when I'm in my 60s or 70s and my grandkids are flourishing, if I ever have any. Like, not right now. Like, too many issues going on to be even talking about this. But it seems to be, obviously, the conversation with independence in Scotland right now is heating up a bit. But it's not the sort of independence that anybody should be talking about. It's totally divisive nonsense. So I just wish it would stop, but it's not going to anytime soon. But I know you're a unionist, so I'm not coming on here to like start shit. Like,
no, mate, I'm quite happy that we have a bunch of people that have different opinions, and we can all get on and we can discuss them rationally.
Yeah.
But from what I can see in Scotland, they're not wanting an independent Scotland. They're wanting a European. They're wanting to be separate from England, and they seem like they want to be separate from England, but in the European Union.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think that. I know that Northern Ireland would be fucked financially, not being part of the union. We don't produce what we would need to produce to sustain an economy.
Well, here's a question for you, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'm diametrically opposed to near enough everything the SNP say, they always point to Northern Ireland to kind of bolster their argument for us becoming independent, quote unquote. And when they say independence in Scotland, this is something that I stress a lot in my videos, etc. When they say they mean the EU. It's simultaneous, which in and of itself contradicts everything they claim to stand for in terms of democracy. But they always point to Northern Ireland and say that yous are the only part of the UK that has a sort of flourishing economy because yous are still like in the single market, etc., etc. Is that the case, or are they talking shit?
I would love to know where that flourishing economy is.
Starting with the back.
I ain't seen it. I'll give you here's an example. I live in a working class area of East Belfast. There are two large roads that run through the area. 1 second, I just need to mute and cough.
I know, bother.
There are two large shopping roads that would. I know you have tenements and stuff, but East Belfast, we have lots of terrace houses that date back to the Industrial Revolution. And there's two large shopping roads. Whenever I was a kid, the shops on those roads, you could have bought anything from a thimble to the ship's anchor. You had all local businesses that were doing lots of trade out of there. And now you've got a couple of hairdressers, a shit ton of eating houses, chippies, no big restaurants, like it's all like chippies, bakeries, stuff like that, and charity shops.
Yeah.
And I don't know how anywhere has a thriving economy based on that. Our shipyard that used to employ thousands currently employs 300 people. The aircraft factory that used to employ probably 10,000 employs, I would say, about 4. We don't export shit. The only things we export in any great quantities would be Bitchute pottery and Tyrone crystal. Which are both, oh god, the craft work in those places. It is all British fish and chip shops and barbers that look like us around where I live. And no, we don't have shops selling halal food. We have a few Polish shops, but the Tyrone crystal, the best of my knowledge, is still going strong. I know that Bleak pottery is still going well because I done the tour of the factory last week when I was on my holidays. This is not what a thriving economy looks like. And the other thing that I'm noticing is that whenever you go into Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, the stuff on the shelves, you could get. Don't get me wrong. If you go in, you're definitely going to be able to get coffee, tea, whatever. But the range of stuff that they have has dramatically shrunk. The range of breads have shrunk. the range of pretty much everything has shrunk because we can't get it across in the boat from fucking England.
Yeah.
With queues on the ferries that would go Belfast, Liverpool, Lawrence and Roar, and one to Holyhead, that would bring all sorts of foods for the large supermarkets, because they have like warehouse distribution centres in England that everything goes through, and it is an absolute bollocks. And there is a border in the Irish Sea. The other thing is the writing on the walls pretty much everywhere you go about. You'll not go too far without seeing it spread on the wall around here. No EU, no Irish Sea border, and buy local, no EU. It's sort of that's what's went up on a lot of walls lately. So it's and no harm to Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP, but if she wants to start a civil war in this country, she's going the right way about it.
No, I totally agree with that. Like, I mean, I've always felt that the European Union have gone out of the way to use as they call it, the Irish question as a means to sort of sow division. It was one of the main, instigators and all the sort of, their excuse anyway when it came to stalling, when it came to coming to some sort of agreement and whatnot moving forward. But especially in recent times as well, especially with the local elections, the ones that just passed, was it? I don't know if it was this year, I can't even remember at this point. Like, but Sturgeon, I don't know, they really are just they're taking a sort of dangerous approach, if you ask me. Like, it almost does appear, as you mentioned there, that they're trying their damnedest to, whether or not intentionally or not, like indirectly or directly, I kind of get the impression that if they're not careful, that's the sort of thing that they could be, at least in part, responsible for, is the sort of regeneration of civil war, as you said there.
Well, here's the other thing. We apparently, allegedly, are in about the 21st, 22nd year of a peace process. It's the strangest peace process you've ever heard of in your life. Have you ever heard of a peace process where one of the main parties running the government simultaneously have a armed paramilitary wing?
No.
We have the IRA have not decommissioned. They have not dismantled. There's not, if anything, there are more paramilitary groups in Northern Ireland than, I don't exactly see South Africa as peaceful.
No,
see whenever you've got political leaders in a country saying we're not going to kill the white people, at least not for now. I don't think that's a peaceful situation.
No,
but we have got more paramilitary organizations that have more members now than we had 21, 22 years ago. So I don't see how that works as a peace process.
No, that's a complicated one. Like, I mean,
it's
not something I really know that much about, and it's kind of a subject that whether you want to call me a bit of a pussy or not, so I don't like to step on people's toes in that respect. Like, but it's not really something I want to see blow up again, so to speak. Like, I don't mean any puns intended with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Like, no, that's what I was saying about Sturgeon and that. I just think they're kind of walking a very dangerous line there. Like, But I mean, just before this goes any further, there was two comments that were said quite a while back. I'm looking at the comments of the StreamYard thing, 20 past 1 as well, just before you go on anymore. But one from Jerry, and he said, "Is there a realistic chance of Scotland getting independence if voting again?" And then Hasdak, who still hasn't changed his name and upsets me, please do. He wants an English, or she wants an English Parliament for the English, because I am not British. We'll start off with Jerry's quickly. I've said this before, but this is why I'm so anti SNP, because, as I said at the start when I joined, in an ideal world, I would like independence for Scotland, and I would want it on the pretense that like everything else that's going on around us wasn't happening, such as climate change, quote unquote, or the migrant crisis, food shortage. None of this bollocks was happening. Like, things were the way that they used to be back in the day. But until we get to a point, if it ever happens, I don't even want to be talking about independence. But I will just add as a caveat to that, the SNP's version of independence that they're talking about now, due to wet wipery in our parliament in terms of opposition, the revisionist history that's on display. And if you want to know what I mean by revisionist history, just watch my videos on it. I'm not going to fucking yammer on too much longer on it, but it's predicated on revisionist, unchallenged history. They've got a narrative that's been born out of lies. And if they get a referendum, the question is, will they? But if they do, I do firmly believe they'll win it. And if they do win it, they said in 2021 that in the event of winning that referendum, then there wouldn't be a secondary referendum, meaning, well, we get a chance then to decide whether or not we want to rejoin the European Union. It's classed as a double referendum. So I don't want it. I don't fucking want that referendum. And that's for Hasdak's comment that just below it. We want to have a parliament for the English, because that's kind of the same. Like, that's one of my arguments I always use when people are I come after me like, oh, the English is not. I firmly believe that the English deserve their own parliament. They deserve to be a sovereign people as well. Like, that's just my belief. They don't have a parliament. Westminster is not the English parliament. Like, I know that they represent England more than they represent the rest of the UK, but fundamentally, by and large, it's not their parliament. They're not a sovereign people. And look what the hell's happened to England. Out of every part of the UK, England has been hit the worst in terms of the demography problem. You know? I ain't a parliament that represents its people. So, yeah, I am firmly of the same belief. Scottish nationalism gets a bad name because of the likes of the SNP. You know, a legitimate Scottish nationalist would be on the side of myself, and we are so far and few between, and it's kind of sad, really, in many respects. But sorry, I'll ramble for long enough. I'll let you go.
Right. Here's a thought. Right. Fuck, I need to get a picture of fucking Lawrence Sullivan. So as every time I go here,
Lawrence Simonson.
yeah. Well, I need to get a picture of her ready to throw up every time I want to say, "Here's a thought." Right. Do you think that the fact that the UK Parliament has, for so long, the English MPs in that Parliament have for a very, very long time had it drummed into them that they can't be English centric because it has to represent England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and then Northern Ireland, and they had to take that into account. Do you think that has an effect on how they do the rest of their business and why they seem to be so very worried about zealously advocating for their English voters?
Yeah, I mean that's what I think. That's where the argument kind of has been born from, where they talk. Well, some people talk about like, oh, the English deserve their own parliament and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, like, how many people do you hear about? How many politicians in England, like when it comes to like elections and whatnot, how many of them talk about England? They don't. Like, it's always the UK. Whereas in Scotland, it's either you're UK, you're a unionist, or you're SNP, right? In England, you don't get that. It's just like nobody opposes the concept of the union, and I'm not saying that coming from the position of I'm like anti-union. I am sort of like, as I said, in an ideal world, but it's like, how many of them actually speak for what's beneficial for England and English people. You don't hear it. It's always, all the time, unionist, unionism. And by and large, that isn't beneficial for England. That's so, yes, to your point, it's just constantly about the union as opposed to England. And that's an argument for English people that I think they should have if they want to roll with it, really, because I can understand their frustration. I really can. I mean, it must be really irritating to not have. I mean, I know that by and large, most governments, if not every government, is full of puppets anyway, for the most part. But that must really frustrate them that they don't have anybody that actually legitimately represents them. I mean, can you name any from in Westminster that specifically talk about England? You don't hear it. It's always the union, the union this, the union that. And I know for somebody who's a unionist, that's fine, but I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of, if you're English, it's like, well, I don't care about the union. What about my problems? You don't hear that. It's always about what's best for the union. You know?
I could, if I was a working class person from, I don't know, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, anywhere but London, whatever, I'm listening to what the SNP saying, what Cymru are saying in Wales, what Sinn Féin are saying in Northern Ireland, I believe I would be saying, cut the fucking anchors off.
Oh, I agree.
This is just putting us down. And I do think that the other thing is Northern Ireland has assembly, Scotland has an assembly, Wales has an assembly. Now, of those three, I would say the Stormont Assembly is the most dysfunctional, in that it's not a proper democracy. We have a system whereby we have to make a coalition between the largest unionist party and the largest nationalist party, and those two groups of people do not agree on fucking anything, and that's what's led to us holding the world record for the longest collapsed parliament in the world. Even though we did have the two female leaders, we were always told by the feminists, if there was more female leaders, everything would be fine because we'd be able to agree and get on. But Arlene Foster and Michelle O'Neill currently hold the record for having the longest collapsed parliament in the world. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's been for a while. It's been pretty hectic over in your end of the neck of the woods, like.
Yeah, and oh fuck. And the other thing is, in much the same way that the SNP are not Scottish nationalists, Sinn Féin are not Irish nationalists.
No, without a doubt. Same with what they called Plaid Cymru or whatever the fuck. I can't say that name probably, but the same principle applies. Like,
yeah,
they're all the same. But I'll say this as well. This is what I'm saying about how maybe even out of anybody in Scotland, as few and far between as we might very well be. I mean, I'm not even going to speak for the likes of Scots Armour and no chance. I kind of know Scots Armour's position more than I do Clive's, but still wouldn't speak for them. But I'm not entirely sure how many other people out there there are who share our beliefs, so to speak. But it's a very rare thing to hear. But I would be absolutely fine with Holyrood, Scottish Parliament, being disbanded tomorrow. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to this country. Not that I've been alive for that long. I mean, what was it? It was 2001 time that it was created, or its inception was around about that time frame. I would have been 5 years old or something, you know? Like, I can't really remember the time before it ever existed, but all I know is that the vast majority of our issues have really been accelerated since the inception of that parliament. So get it to fuck.
I don't know anybody that believes Stormont works and wants it to continue in its current form. the only problem I see with Stormont going away tomorrow is what government do we get in the UK,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of the people that could be in power in the UK that don't really like us. But even at that, it would still be better than what we've got. The bullshit that goes through that Northern Ireland Assembly is fucking. Oh, here's one for you. Have the SNP. Oh, Billy, I don't mean Labour. The Conservatives aren't much better. There's a guy called Philip Davis who's in the Conservative Party, and I wish the fuck he was going to be their next leader. I would take that all day long. He's a proper Conservative. But the two Muppets that's going for the leadership now. But yes, what I was going to say, have the SNP started talking about introducing the Swedish model for people trafficking in as yet?
People trafficking?
Yeah, the Swedish model.
I mean, is that like a fancy phrase for something else, or do you mean actual people trafficking?
Right, okay. The Swedish model of people trafficking is a set of legislation. Started off in Sweden, obviously from the name. We now have it in Northern Ireland. And it turns out that it's got little to do with people trafficking and a lot to do with prostitution. So the current legal state in Northern Ireland is it is totally legal for a woman to sell sex. Right? A woman's caught soliciting, selling sex, any of that stuff. Nothing happens to her whatsoever. However, if a person buys sex, they are guilty of people trafficking in one way, shape, or form, and you go to jail for 3 years.
I don't think I've heard that, but I'm just checking my Telegram now because I posted something about 2 weeks ago. Just 2 seconds. Let me see if I can find it. And it was about prostitution, but I just can't remember what it was. What it actually was. It's from the government website.
I'll tell you how bad this shit gets. Say for sake of the argument, you go out for a night in the town and you meet a girl and you decide to go to your house or her house to do the fuck thing, and you, because you're a gentleman, pay for the taxi, and you maybe even get her chips or something on the way home. Because you have paid for the taxi, she is economically disadvantaged and has been exploited and moved from one place to another place within a country for sexual exploitation, and therefore you've just become guilty of people trafficking.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? And they're just mimicking that from Sweden.
Yep, they took the whole they took the Swedish model carte blanche and brought it in Northern Ireland, and it went through our assembly. And every stupid thing that the Northern Ireland Assembly does, the SNP seems to follow.
Well, I'll be honest, I wasn't actually aware of that. I thought it was normally the SNP do their own thing, and then Wales, well, they're always in competition with Wales. I didn't realise that Northern Ireland were kind of going through the same issues, like in that respect. But no, I can't find that on my Telegram for some reason.
We're ahead of you with our climate emergency.
Oh well, with the cows, so that
yeah. No, we have already declared there to be a climate emergency that requires there to be a climate SAR and to be paid X amount per year to look at all these climate things, and the climate emergency cannot be revoked until the IPCC, the international thing, have decided that the climate's fine, basically.
Oh no! Wow, we're not okay. We're not that far down the road. Like, but Scotland, they do love to brag about being world leading when it comes to climate change. But what year did you declare a climate emergency? I'm pretty sure Scotland it was 2019, 2020. I know, 2019.
Oh, the news are ahead of us. I think it started in. Well, here's the thing. It would have been in earlier, but we had the collapse of the Parliament that sort of slowed everything down.
Well, right enough. For us, I can't remember what year it was. I just remember it was when all the children started their climate strikes. Greta Thunberg, totally organic climate strikes. All the kids went out to protest with their placards, reiterating what they've been taught in school, of course, courtesy of the SNP. And then they demanded action. And according to the United Nations Children's Rights Charter, which is on the verge of being enshrined into Scottish law, one of these laws will be that children have a right to be listened to and taken seriously when it comes to decision and policy making, politically speaking. So, of course, in this totally legitimate organic world, a bunch of 6-year-olds with their placards reiterating what they learned in page 7 of their textbook demand Nicola Sturgeon to take imminent action. And because they've got a right to be listened to and taken seriously, well, that was enough. That was enough for our First Minister to go, well, the 6-year-olds, they know what they're talking about. I've got to listen to them. So I've got to declare a climate emergency. So that's kind of how it happened. I've got this thing up here. I don't necessarily think it's the same thing what you were talking about, though, with the prostitution, trafficking and that. But no, it's just crap in the Scottish government's thing. But they've got papers or reports to inform the development of a framework to effectively tackle and challenge male demand for prostitution. So it's a bit different to what you're talking about, but it kind of goes down the same path anyway.
Right. That phrase there sounds like you're getting the Swedish model.
Well, I can share the screen just quickly, and you can tell me if it's the same sort of principle.
Yeah,
that's not a problem. 2 seconds. There we go. Billy blogs, listening to children for policymaking. Who tells the kids what to repeat? That's exactly my point. If you watch my videos, I'm not saying you have to, or you don't. Just read into the United Nations Children's Rights Charter, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're politicizing and propagandizing children. Thus, the children inevitably come to the point where they start to demand political change and action. The government get to then go, well, the children won't be able to do so. How convenient. But where is it? Here we go. This is it here. So if I need to zoom in, I'll zoom in a wee bit. Okay, here we go. So 2 research papers to inform the development of a framework to effectively tackle and challenge men's demand for prostitution. The publication of the Lived Experience Report and International Evidence Review highlighting the personal stories behind those involved in prostitution. They need to better understand and tackle the stigma many feel, and the international efforts aimed at tackling men's demand.
Right. Would you like me to translate that for you?
Hi, feel free, my friend.
Right. Okay. Right. What you've got is you've got a problem with the stigma of women involved in prostitution, and it'll also probably say something about their safety.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That means that because it's possible for them to be arrested and prosecuted for selling sex, which, by the way, I don't know how you can get prosecuted for selling something that you can give that it's legal to give away for free. Right? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But so what they will use that as an argument to legalize selling sex, and they're saying that the only reason why prostitution exists is because there's a male demand. So they need to do something to stop the male demand, and that is to up the penalty for buying sex.
Yeah.
And they're also talking about exploitation and stuff. They're teeing it up to bring the Swedish model in, I would say.
Oh God.
And the other thing is, with Sturgeon saying about Scotland going to a feminist foreign policy and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's taken from Sweden.
Yeah, the Swedish model is the feminist form of regulating sex work.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh God! I mean, I knew that the feminist foreign policy will be the first country in the UK to be to have a feminist foreign policy, but they've made a point of saying that we'll be just like Sweden. I'm just seeing if there's anything else here as well that might be of interest to you in this. It's not a very long article, to be fair, but do we need to? We want all women and girls to be treated with respect, and tackling sexual exploitation is key to realising this. We are developing a framework for Scotland that effectively challenges men's demands. We must listen to and apply the lessons learned from the approaches adopted by other countries as detailed within the evidence review. These reports are important milestones towards delivering our programme for government. I'll just see if there's anything that's it. But I mean, obviously there's the PDFs and whatnot there, but I won't go into that. But that's interesting. So it seems as if you might very well be onto something there. So we're heading down the same trajectory. Just goes to show that there's not really anything organic about governments, is there?
No. Oh, Billy Blogs has just caught on. So I'm never buying a date or a bird a chip ever again. She can pay for the taxi too. This is madness. This is very, very real. Now, part of where this came from was it's really hard to prove rape, particularly if two people have met in a nightclub and they've been all over each other publicly in the nightclub, and they get into a taxi together and blah, 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 blah. And then she wakes up the next morning, she's got 74 texts and 30 calls from her boyfriend, and she pulls a "I was raped" thing. And they're like, "No, we can't really prove it. Doesn't matter. You got in a taxi that he paid for. You were trafficked. You were exploited and trafficked. So we'll get him on that."
Well, funny enough, you mentioned that there as well, though. In Scotland, something else posted on Telegram a wee while ago. We have a third option currently when it comes to the court system in Scotland. We've got proven, or guilty, not guilty, but there's also not proven.
Yeah,
they want to get rid of that now. The not proven verdict, which I don't really know how I feel about that, because obviously I feel for any woman out there that's actually legitimately being raped, but I find it a bit iffy in the sense that there's false accusations, and if they get rid of the not proven verdict, it's kind of going to compel juries to sort of feel compounded to make a choice whether or not they feel somebody's actually guilty or not. And I don't know, the not proven thing I think is actually a good thing, in the sense that if there isn't enough evidence to justify a conviction, then you can't say one way or the other, hence not proven verdict. But they want to get rid of that now, and the feminists are up in arms demanding that they get rid of it. The Scottish government are listening, of course, because they're feminists as well. So I don't know.
The person most hurt by false rape accusations is people that have been actually raped.
Oh, but that it delegitimizes actual claims.
Don't get, and apart from everything I've said and do say about false accusations and the prevalence of them and whatnot, it does not undermine the fact that rape is a heinous crime. And people that are genuinely raped need justice, and people that genuinely rape other people need a very, very stern form of justice.
Yeah.
But the believe all woman thing has gone way too far.
Oh, I can't get behind that one. Like, I mean, I won't go into too much detail in terms of there was an accusation thrown at me when I was a teenager by a bird who made a heinous accusation against me, and just to, instead of admitting to her boyfriend where she was, she instead tried to insinuate that I'd tried to do something heinous in that realm, shall we say. But there was too many witnesses in the vicinity for it to have even been remotely true. And may I add as a wee caveat, by the end of the next day, she'd already admitted that she'd lied. But my point is, though, had she ran with that story, I could have been in some deep shit. And I'll say this, I would meet people halfway in terms of, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about getting rid of the not proven verdict, but if they would just up the criminal or the criminality aspect or the charges that would occur if it's found out that it's a false accusation, I think that would probably put off a lot of individuals from making these false accusations. But as it stands, like, if a woman makes a false claim, she remains anonymous, but the guy's dragged through the mud. And then even after it's found out that she made a false claim, she still gets to remain anonymous. Whereas even though it's been proven that your man was telling the truth, it never happened or whatever, there's a lot of people out there that might not necessarily know that, but they'll know him for being a rapist, like just because of a claim that's made. So I think there should be a harsher punishment. Like,
there was a guy walked across was on his way home from work in a tube station in London, and he came out of work, walked across the platform, had his ticket on the oyster thing for the next station, and that's literally all he did. Unbeknown to him, there was a woman walking in front of him who was in London on her way to be in the Game of Thrones, and there's something wrong with her napper, and she made a claim that while she was walking across the platform, somebody stooped down, put their hand up her skirt, up between her legs, penetrated her, and removed their hand. And because she went through the turnstile and he was the next person after her, the police arrived out at his house the next day, and it took over 2 years for it to get as far as court. It was in court for approximately 5 minutes before it was through out. The Metropolitan Police identified him on CCTV, but it wasn't a running film. It was, you get every 6 seconds you get a shot. So, and they showed him walking across, but the frames were he was close to her. They let stay up for double the exposure length of time than all the other ones, and it took him forever to clear his name. Now his name is still out in the public domain. Apparently, I'm not allowed to say that the woman that made the accusation was called Furry, and she was in the Game of Kings, and she played the the Black Queen. I'm not really allowed to say that, but oh fuck, I just did.
Yeah. Fucking. You're not going to get in trouble, though, are you?
Yep. No, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm only quoting. Fuck, what do you call her? Well, Billy Blogs is saying really. Yeah, really. Yeah, I have all of this on very, very good authority. And if they want to come after me for that, all it's going to do is create more publicity about it. So, fuck them. No, I'll tell you who I wouldn't name. I wouldn't name the girl that decided to have sex with 3 rugby players and also rugby players, and then the next day claimed it was rape. I wouldn't use that name because that one is a bit toxic. Court case for that went on for ages. All the rugby players were named. She's still not properly out in the press. If you really wanted to find her name, you could, but that one wouldn't be worth a bother. But for her, yeah, no, I'm quite happy to let people know. In fact, I might even put it in the fucking description.
Well, to be fair, it's sad, but it's a very common story. I mean, even the one you were on about there, the second one about the rugby players. I mean, there's been similar stories I've heard in America quite often. And I don't know. I just find it wrong. I do find it totally wrong that women can get away. I know that a guy could do it as well, but it tends to be a woman that makes these claims as opposed to a man. But I find it wrong. I've seen stories in the past of like Good Morning Britain and what's the other one this morning with that queer hot fucking Philip Schofield. That I think, like all the time you hear it. Just I don't know. I think it's wrong. So I would say if in the case of Scotland, if they really want to get rid of this not proven verdict, I'd meet them halfway. I'd be like, all right, okay, fine, if that's what you really want. But my caveat to that would be that if you want to do that, then you ramp up the punishment for false accusations. Because I just feel fundamentally wrong getting behind the concept of getting rid of a not proven verdict on the basis of that might potentially mean a lot of people, or some, but even if it's a few, that's still bad, people will be sent down or charged under the pretense of false allegations. And I just think that's wrong.
Talking about Philip Schofield, why are we by any car still using him? Because used car dealers have got a bad reputation for doing dodgy stuff. And Philip Schofield, even by the kindest interpretation from his own words, lived his life as a lie for the majority of his adult life. You know, I mean, granted, what he did, well, there could have been a crime involved because I'm pretty sure that whenever he started a relationship with
the guy was
that fella, he was underage. But even if you take that out of it, he lived in a very dishonest way.
Aye.
You know, and why would you want somebody that's best known for being dishonest as your brand ambassador?
Here's my theory on that. I don't necessarily think he would still be held up to the same regard that he's held up to if he was having an affair with another woman. I think it's the fact that he was bonking a lad, and you know, that's progressive and diverse and inclusive, all that shit. And I know it's not exactly a hot take, but I fundamentally believe it's because two things. You can't chastise a guy for being a covert gay who's come out and living his best life now, because you just can't do that anymore. But second of all, just that in and of itself, it's the fact that he's gay. Like, if he was bonking a bird, maybe if it was like a BAME woman or something, it might be a bit different. But like the point is, though, he was cheating on his wife and having an affair with a man / alleged child for a while. So you can't chastise him for that, according to the establishment. I think that's why he's held up to such a high regard still. You know, he would be sort of defamed, or kind of, he would have been distanced from the public eye if it was just your everyday woman that he was having an affair with. Like, that's my theory. I could be wrong. I don't know what you think of that. Like, am I on or a winner there?
Yeah, I think you are. Not only is he, well, you see, he's stunning and brave now.
Exactly.
You know, he hasn't done something wrong. He's stunning and brave, and it's like, you couldn't make that shit up. In other news, you'll like this: the LGBTQAI. You know, as it spreads and spreads and spreads.
Getting close to that P.
Oh, well, do you know who's now? Do you know who's included in that? MGTOWs.
What?
Men going their own way under the LGBTQAI groupings. The uh, the asexual people are people who don't form relationships, don't have sex, uh, and are more interested in getting their own lives in order and just moving forward with themselves and not having relationships.
Why?
That's MGTOW to a T.
How? I'm still trying to wrap my head around the MGTOW. Like, how the hell have a bunch? How the? I don't. That's totally dumbfounded me. Like, why are they included in an acronym that kind of defines? Oh, I was going to use the F word there. I'll just say redacted instead. But like, what?
Right. I'll tell you why. Because they have expanded it so much. They have expanded it to include people who don't form relationships, don't have sex, don't get involved in the whole relationship thing, don't share finances, all of that stuff, which is MGTOW to a T. Now, they're not pleased that they have. Yeah, the LGBT the LGBT people are not pleased at all that they've went that wide and they've brought those people in. But the MGTOW guys, they're pushing themselves.
I don't know how I'd feel if I consider myself part of that movement. Like,
well, the other thing is, MGTOW comes out of the men's rights, and the unofficial motto of all that people is FTSU. Fuck their shit up. And if they've got an option of pointing out that they've been unintentionally included in their acronym, we'll do it just to piss them off.
I can see why the LGBT lot would be raging though, because they're obviously very diametrically opposed to anything that's considered heteronormative and white and cisgender. So to have a group of people that's broadly, like mainly anyway, not all, but most of them will be straight white men. That's gonna annoy them.
Actually, I'm going to see if I can look that up.
That's brilliant. Oh wow, that's not the first I've heard of that. Like, fuck no. How many people you still go watch? Like, is it's getting pretty late in the day?
15.
15. You only fucking might know in the comment section. It would be Niggling Bell. Niggling Bell. How long before they add the P to the LGBT? He's asking. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Really, I mean, they've already got the wee sort of family-friendly version of it. The terminology, anyway, they call them MAPs, as you're probably aware.
Yes, men are attracted persons.
Yeah.
No, it's not coming up in a simple search. I'm going to have to do a dive to find that article. But it's
funny to see it a little bit. Like,
whenever I do get it, I'll send you a link because it's funny as fuck.
That's brilliant. First I've heard of that. Like, just totally threw me off my train of thought. Like, said that. Oh, Belly, come on. Then you get fucking snarky, like, you know what I mean? I'm only having a joke with you. You know? Fuck's sake. But I fucking... it's a ducks in the chat now, Jesus.
Yep. It's a duck. He's reckoning MGTOW are just unknowingly playing their part in what was intended to be. Well... It depends whether or not you're talking about original MGTOW, new MGTOW, or PigTOW. You know, because there's like fucking 3 groupings there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about. I mean, I think the last time I came on when you had Ragnar and Rory on, I kind of spoke a little bit about it. I mean, there's rightly or wrongly, there's a bit of a stigma attached to the term MGTOW in of itself because of some of the spurgy fucking behaviour, but I know where it originates from, so I sympathise in
well-
that respect. Like,
Well, we separate them off in the pig tie.
I
Pigs going
do
their own way.
remember you saying that. Like, there's
Yeah.
like a list of the individuals in question in particular.
Yeah.
Like, so I see both sides. Like, I sympathise in that respect because I
Right.
know where it originates from. And without a doubt, without question, irrespective of whether or not that everybody tries to insinuate that we live in some sort of patriarchy, we don't. Like, men get shafted, legally speaking. That's where it originates from, and the way, the legal system or whatnot. That's where some.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not where it?
Yeah,
originates from?
that's pretty much where it came from.
Yeah.
Billy Vlogs has just asked, are MGTOW celibate?
Well, don't ask me, but I don't know.
Right. Well, I'll give you an answer to that. There are a group of people called MGTOW monks, and they are celibate, don't have any form of relationships, interactions with women at all. They just fucking don't do it. So those MGTOWs are celibate. Then you have Hasdax juking out. Thanks for coming along with it. Then you have a bunch of people who would do the pump and dump one night stands on the basis that both people know that it's a one night stand, and that's it. There are a bunch of MGTOWs that would use sex workers. Then there are a bunch of MGTOWs who have long-standing relationships, but they run those relationships in a way that they don't come into cross any of the laws about sharing assets, sharing money that would put them in. Yeah. Well, no, prenups don't work. What you got to do is not live with the other person, not share finances. Definitely not have her live in your house and pay any form of a bill. You live in her house, pay any form of a bill. To keep you away from any form of divorce pay. So it's more complicated than saying are they celibate. Basically, what they are is a bunch of people that's putting themselves first. It's at the bottom of it. Right.
So it's an indictment of society, really, when people feel that that's the way that they need to operate in a relationship. Like, so just I know that you want to finish up. I just want to kind of ties into it's a Dutch comment there, though, where he said division in generally speaking, and he's right, really. Like, I've given that much thought myself, like, and just what you said there kind of echoes reiterates my beliefs in that respect. Like, that's a hell of a lot of like hassle. That's not healthy, really, and I feel that society, the way that it's going, it's causing people to feel that way and operate their relationships in that way and think about the future in that way, and it shouldn't be like that, really. Yeah. And it's kind of depressing for a guy like me who's fucking single, like, so I don't want to be thinking about that too much. Well, let's just finish up.
My advice to any young man that is single, make yourself a checklist of the qualities you want from your partner. And they're going to be things like is employed, is self-sufficient, as in lives in her own home. Doesn't matter whether it's rented or buying. It's going to be things like, not crazy. And
it's getting harder and harder these days.
Not crazy, not ugly. Right, because see if you look at a girl and you could envisage yourself ever looking at her and thinking, then that's not the person for you. And get yourself your checklist, and anytime you have an encounter that could become a date, you go through your checklist at the end of it and think, does any one of those fire up? And if it is, then that's a no, we can't continue this anymore. And you are going to reject 99% of the people that you ever encounter. But see that one that you do get, it's going to be fucking epic.
No, well, I mean, I don't even think I need to go through the checklist if I looked at them and went,
Yep. Well, yep.
but, you know, I get the sentiment, like, but, you know, they need to look a bit better for me to go through my checklist.
No,
like, I do get your point.
No, it's not even do you go whenever you look at them. It's what you have to think about is, can you ever envisage after 10 years, 15 years looking at that person and going, bleh, because
that's true. And as well as that, though, because this is 2022, I will just conclude with this. There's probably something else that you should add to that checklist. Do they have a booby? Because you just never know.
Yeah, you want somebody that's been a female their whole life. The very quickly go through the manosphere. The three sort of groupings you have. You've got the pickup artists who want to game the system and also want to take resources off socially awkward men. You've got the MGTOW crowd who want to avoid the system, and you've got the men's rights advocates who want to fix the system.
Yeah, it's fair enough. As I say, I don't know that much about it, but as I said to you earlier on, I kind of see both sides of the argument in terms of I was going to say see what they're almost did completely though. But there is people out there that sort of smear it, wrongfully, I should say. But that I know also where it originates from. So I see both sides of the coin in that respect. And obviously, I'm not going to speak too much about my own personal matters on a live stream, but I kind of really do empathise with people in the same boat. Like, I'll just say that much.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know. Actually, I know what I was thinking about what I'm going to end with, and I do actually have a link I'm going to use for my outro song. Right.
Oh, before you go though, I was going to say, because obviously you were on it was a while ago. You were talking to me and Scott Sarmer about doing a stream.
Yes.
With the Highland Game thing.
Yes.
If you still want to do that, we can. But if not, because obviously, and I was going to talk about my uncle type thing, and I know it's getting late in the day and stuff. But if you want, if I could find the article quickly, I could fire it up now and show you, or we can wait till.
Right. Here's the thing. I really want to do the Highland Games stream.
Right. Well, I know we'll set it in stone. Then we'll do it that way then.
And I know that you have sort of issues about not really knowing that much about it.
No, but that's why I think it was a kind of interesting dynamic, because it was the whole point of your series to begin with. It's like people have lost touch with their culture. I'm a Scottish Highlander. I should know about these things. So
and I think there's quite an important issue about how you got to be disconnected from it.
It's that damn English. That's what it is. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Actually, from the little bit of research I do know, I have done, it seems that the Highland Games, there came a point in history where the clans were not allowed to gather and weren't allowed to have weapons and stuff, and the Highland Games was counted as the clans gathering.
See, I didn't even know that. Wow.
And then Queen Victoria got them brought back in.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm gonna. Do you know what's actually has perked my interest in terms of football sport, and I look up stuff about it, but I'm just not going out into it yet. But I know we'll sort it out.
The first thing we need to do is, I tried to get a Telegram group going and get yourself and Scott's Armour into it, but I managed to create the group, but it was saying I wasn't allowed to invite both of you on it.
Oh, that's pure boomer.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest. To be fair, Paul, I am the youngest out of all three by a country mile. May I add? I'm a young gun, and I don't know how to do it either. But we'll figure it out.
We'll get. Do you know what? if we have to, we'll go old school and we'll email it.
The John Davidson way.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
Speaking of, before you want to, well, you said you were looking for an article there, but I just want to show John
Yep.
Davidson's channel, like, because I'm going on there on Tuesday. And I haven't decided yet how in depth I'm going to get about things like, but obviously there was the scare in Inverness with somebody jumping off the bridge. We don't know what happened there, but then the drugs death statistics came out for Scotland for 2021. Suicide statistics came out this week. Alcohol-related deaths came out this week. And in terms of alcohol, it's the highest death rate since 2008. Suicides have declined a little bit, but they're still prevalent in the Highlands. And the drugs deaths have declined by a grand total of 9. So it's still the second highest in Scottish history. So I'm going to talk to John about that sort of explicitly, but I'm going to go into a bit of my history as well. I'm not going to say anything that's going to, criminalize myself to my ex if she's listening. Hiya. But I'm not daft, but I'm going to talk about my history. Because if I can destigmatize the idea of at least one person listening to go and get help when they need it most, then I will rest easier at night. Like, that's all I'll say in the matter. For now, until I go on this John stream.
That's a really good attitude. I'll say to everybody on this, get yourself on that stream because it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Absolutely. Everybody just knows me as the prick with the Scottish salt. How's my flag going? Now you're going to know a hell of a lot more about me.
Yeah.
Might be the worst decision I've ever made, but I just feel it's relevant now. So we'll see what happens. I haven't decided what I'm going to say and what not. I don't pre-plan appearances and stuff, but it'll be a here and there type of thing. We'll see what happens. But looking forward to it, actually. Sort of.
Yeah. No, I was on with John before, and I'm going on again. And I found it a very interesting stream today.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Like, he's Scott Sarver's on as well. Next, I think he's on my third. You're on the Tuesday. You're on. Am I right in saying I'm on next Tuesday? Scott Sarver's on the Thursday, and you're on the Tuesday following. I think
I'm on the 16th. So it's probably that probably sounds about right.
Yeah. So it's the following Tuesday. I'm on the 9th, then the Tuesday after that's the 16th. Yeah, yes. So quite a lot of content to consume for the people at home.
Right. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I'm going to reply to this game in my Telegram DMs. I'm really excited to see some Bane booty. Nah, obviously, but it's the same crap every time, man. I don't know why they bother, but not really, man. As I say, I hope I sort of cleared up the Scottish nationalistic point of view that I have at the beginning of the stream. To Billy, my best friend Billy Niggling, I love you, Paul. I love you so much. Apart from that, no, Spotty Dogs for having me on, like late in the day as it is. But
Well, always a pleasure to have you on, chum. I enjoy our conversations. We don't agree on absolutely everything, but that would be bad. that would be. I would worry if I started to agree with everybody. That's how you know you're becoming a fucking leftist.
Yes, or in an echo chamber.
That's exactly it. Again, thanks very much for having you on. I'm gonna play some. Yes, I'm gonna play This song is called "The Lammas Fur," and oh fuck, we'll have to actually share the stream first. Yeah, boomer. This is. If you remember the video of the fur that I showed earlier on, this is a song about that exact fur going on. So we'll have some. I thought we'll have something traditional.
All right, fire on.
Here we go.
At
the old Lammas fair in Ballycastle long ago, I met a little colleen who set me heart aglow. She was smiling at her daddy buying lambs from Paddy Row at the old Lammas fair in Ballycastle. Oh, I seen her home that night when the moon was shining bright from the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle. Oh, at the old Lammas fair, boys, were you ever there? Were you ever at the fair in Ballycastle? Oh, did you treat your Mary Ann to Dulce and Yellow Man at the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle? Oh. In Flanders fields afar, while resting from the war, we drank pause ante to the Flemish lasses, oh. But the scene that haunts my memory is kissing Mary Ann, her pouting lips all sticky from eating Yellow Man, as we crossed the Silver Margie and we strolled across the strand from the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle. Oh, at the old Lammas fair, boys, were you ever there? Were you ever at the fair in Ballycastle? Oh, did you treat your Mary Ann to Dulce and Yellow Man at the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle? Oh. There shone a little cabin on the slopes of Old Loughlade. It's lit by love and sunshine where the heather honey's made, by the bees ever humming and their childish joyous call. We sounds across the valley when the shadows fall. I take my fiddle down and my Mary smiling there brings back a happy memory of the Lammas fair. At the old Lammas fair, boys, were you ever there? Were you ever at the fair in Ballycastle? Oh, did you treat your Mary Ann to Dulce and Yellow Man at the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle? Oh. At the old Lammas fair at Ballycastle. Oh.
All right, everybody. I've been 42. You've been fucking brilliant. Good night. God bless, and hope to see you all next week. And broadcast.